Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Threat Hunting. I think um, I'm coming back to create a video after a long period of time, mostly because I've been busy with some other events happening at life, so I wasn't able to create consistently. I think I'm still gonna be a bit here and there and non-consistent on this, but I'll do try to keep up the pace and make more videos. So in that fashion, I'll not make multi-parts video so that you're not stuck somewhere waiting for another part, which might take me a long period of time to deliver. So I'll try to create videos that are concise and are self-sufficient. The content finishes in one shot or one take or one video, and we'll try to keep it um, to the point. So I think we have been discussing about threat hunting for quite some time. We have got some videos where we have discussed about how do you hunt, methodology, things you think about, how do you define a hypothesis, how do you think about executing a hypothesis, what are the key essential elements that you require to successfully run a hunt, different techniques. I think we have not discussed different techniques of hunting. I think I'll just take a note that we can discuss on different hunting techniques. So we can do that. But for today, I think I'm gonna be pivoting to a different topic altogether. The world has grown to adopt. I don't know, this might sound buzzword. This might sound a bubble. You might hear this everywhere. But I think this is what it is gonna be. It was the same when the cloud came up. It was the same when people started moving from um, assembly to compilers. It was same when people started moving from servers to cloud. And I think it's gonna be same when people are moving from manual work to more adoption towards AI, right? So I think if you're not adopting or not doing AI in some form or capacity at this point today, um, you are missing on a huge opportunity. Also, think of it like this: let it be a bubble. Let's assume it's a bubble. Even if it crashes tomorrow, I don't see what harm you would actually incur with trying out a new tech. I am sure that it's not gonna crash. At least that's in my head. Most of the big techs are behind it. Most of the significant investments are happening there. Most of the development is happening there. Most of the coolest job in the market are with AI providers. Most of the data that you would see is with them. So I don't think it's gonna crash. But what I see is, if you're not capitalizing on it, you're probably missing out on a lot of things. So we'll probably try to pivot more towards inclusion of AI into our security stack, security workflows stack, um, right? Or threat hunting operations, threat hunting investigations, dart, IR, all of this. We work in multi different streams. So I think I'll just quantify some of it. So verticals in which we actually work are, we do IR, we do and response, we do digital forensics, we take care of threat hunting, security orchestration and automation. And then there are like specialist functions could be malware analysis, security tooling engineering, and platform tooling and platform engineering, right? There could be insider threat detection. The other vertical is, of course, cyber threat intelligence. How can I forget this? So of course, if you had to put it under Yeah, so this is how the verticals would look like for us. Anybody working in Dart role, all of them are today affected by usage of AI. All of it is something that could be improved or speed up using AI. Don't think of it like a replacement. Think of it more like a level up. You are basically leveling yourself up, and I think you whatever you're doing today at 1x becomes you can do it at 10x speed. Uh, it only works well, at least at this stage. It only things might change in the next 6 months, but it only works well if you understand the fundamentals. There's no replacement. There is no replacement for fundamentals. You should be very thorough with fundamentals. So if you don't understand how hunting works, how to define a hypothesis, what is the domain intelligence, domain expertise, or what is the threat intel, types of intelligence, all those fundamentals are critically important for you to evaluate. Because earlier, if you were just executing and doing the work, now you are also, think of it like is a team of interns that you've got, so you're also approving and guiding their work. So you can only guide when you understand what it has presented to you, right? Of course you can use AI to AI review, but even then you would still need to approve and give a final go ahead, and that go ahead would only make sense if you understand what is you're gonna approve, or what is something that you're approving. So there's no replacement for fundamentals. Think of it like you are up leveling in your job. So if earlier you were working at say a security analyst, basically earlier if you were working as a security analyst 1, think of it like now you have the capability to work as security analyst 2 or 3 maybe. So that up leveling will happen, mostly because you are aided now by a team of experts. So now this AI is very specific. The AI that we generally, the AI is a broader term. What we generally mean when we are calling AI today is usage of models or usage of LLMs. So important topics that we need to understand before we actually get started and realize is there is something called as LLMs, large language models. Now these are basically deep learning applications. It's an application of to better put it, it's an application of deep learning, where it predicts the next word in the sequence. Right? How does it work? How is it able to do that? It is able to do that because it is trained on massive amount of data, textual data, and that is how it knows. Since it has read so much of data, texts, it understands the flow of the statement and is able to predict. So this is how it does that. And then there are a number of providers currently in the market, popular providers or family of models are, you have got GPT models by OpenAI. So you have cloud models by Anthropic. You have got Gemini by Google. You have got, I think, the model is, I think you have got a family of DeepSeek models, Chinese provider, DeepSeek models. And then there are Kimi K2, Minimax, and so many others, right? You can GLM 4.7. Then there are open source models. Then there are frontier models there. Then there are, so all of that categorization is there. It's a whole different world. If a whole different benchmarking that you could do, study, understand which one is suited for what work. You can train a model yourself. You can fine tune a model. It's a whole world of things. Ideally, it would be, the more you want to explore the area, the more you understand the area, the better it is, right? Ideally, the more you understand or are in the field, the better it is. It is how every other domain or branch is, right? The more you study, the better you are at it. But to be fairly honest, um, I think the application and usage style also has a huge impact of how you are gonna apply AI or models into your day-to-day work. Now, this is how LLMs or models are in the simplest form. It is much to be. I'll promise you, it's more complex than what I've just talked about. But if you're coming from a very uh, alienated world where you did not heard about LLMs, think of it like this. Um, it's a it's just a prediction of next word in the sequence, right? So that is how LLMs are. If you have not tried today, go and try out. I would say there are different. I think you can try out ChatGPT is something that is currently available for anybody to sign up for free and use. It's very low capacity, but you can definitely give it a try and see how it works. You can go and try Claude.ai. You can also go and try out DeepSeek. Most of you would have a Google account, so try out Gemini. They have got 3.1, the latest. I think we have V3.2 here. Of course, this one is that there are family of models again inside it, right? So we have got Sonnet 4.6, and then you have got Opus 4.6, and then you have also got Haiku 4.5. These are the latest that you can try out. Each one offering different amount of features. By features, let me come back to what I mean by features. What I mean by reasoning. Yeah, ChatGPT you can definitely try out. I think 5.2 is what is available in the UI. You all can also do 5.3 codecs if on API, right? Now you can definitely give it a try to get a feel. I generally prefer Gemini for creative work. DeepSeek is cheaper, so if you have a heavy usage of AI applications, you probably put some amount of top up in DeepSeek account and keep on using it. Of course, the frontier leads are taken by, at least at this point, is by Claude.ai and ChatGPT. So GPT models 5.3 codecs, Opus 4.6, they're both amazing. So for analytical work, you could probably fall back to these two. But yeah, all of these models give you some amount of reasoning capability. So, and that is where the difference is. So think of it like AI already had some amount of features to do n number of discussion, but now give it a capability to argue, to give it a capability to think before answering, right? And you can all see what it is thinking, right? So that thinking makes the difference. The of course the data on which it is trained also makes the difference, and then there are several other parameters, the context window and all of that, the tokenization, context memory management, all of that makes a difference. But reasoning is one good feature due to which a lot of models have differentiation between them. Because if think in a simpler layman terms, if there's a person who is thinking before answering, you would generally prefer to talk to him rather than talking to somebody who doesn't even think about blabbering something. So I think that is where the difference comes into the play. But you can definitely go around, test, search, realize what works for you the best. That would be all that you're gonna understand about LLM. You can or that we'll talk about LLMs. The next topic that we would generally want to understand, and I'm just touching barely, not even touching, barely, you would say it's a tangent to the circle, right? It's a barely scratch on the surface. I'm not going in depth. I'm just talking about simplest topics that you should at least understand in your day-to-day conversation before we actually start understanding how do we actually apply all of this into your day-to-day work. And I'm trying to bring you from zero to actual application, right? Because I have taken a shift of where I am running parallel tasks on AI, and it's very difficult to deviate and come back. It's addictive. I'm completely blown away by the amount of things that it could do for me if set up correctly, uh, while I am busy doing other things. So I just want to impart that how to set it up. So this is LLM. Next is agent. It's much more complex topic. Agent has agents, agent harness, infrastructure, all of that in the backend, but we are not going to go there. Agent in the simplest fashion is, think about like this. You have got LLMs. LLMs are basically brains. Now you give them hands, right? So agent is something that has LLMs as brains. It also has got hands. It also has got memory. It has got tools. It has the ability to make a decision or propose a decision. It has goals, and it has ability to complete or meet those goals. By hands, what I mean is basically it has capability to execute. Now this is what an agent is. So if you had to just put it into a smaller framework or a concise concise diagram, you would say agent is equal to LLM plus tools plus ability to planning. If it is able to plan, it is able to realize a goal, because planning would be towards a goal. If it is able to plan and it is able to execute, and execute. So if it is able to execute, the plan is successful, so it can meet the goals. So this is how an agent is. Now there are n number of agentic solution in the market. By the way, agent and agentic have a small difference. Agentic is basically, how do I put it? Agentic is the behavior that agents do. For example, what is the behavior that it is executing? The behavior is autonomous. So autonomously execute. I'm talking about what is agentic behavior. Agentic behavior is autonomously execute, break, plan into action items. This is again an agentic behavior. It can choose and select tools to do the job. It can iterate over an outcome. All of these are agentic behavior. All of this is something that you would realize when you start using an agent, that hey, it is able to achieve all of this or do all of this. But the difference is, all agents are agentic, but not all agentic systems. Let me put it in second line. Agentic is not equal to agent. How does it actually quantify? Right. Okay. How does it quantify what does it actually mean? How can I explain this? Think of it like you build a workflow. Now this is a good example. You build a workflow. Right. This workflow queries your SIM for data, parses it, enriches all IOCs from it, adds as block list, right? LLM, or let's say LLM analyzes it and extracts IOCs and behaviors, then enriches all IOCs, adds as block list. Now this looks like agent, but it's not. It's agentic. Why? It executes autonomously. The entire workflow executes autonomously. There's a step-by-step action. So the plan is broken into action items. There might be selection of tools that are happening. Right? You might be querying Splunk, Elastic, Snowflake, Databricks, whatever it is. There is a number of LLM model that you could select it from. Then you have got enrichment happening from n number of sources, and then there is also blocking happening on your EDR. So right, it's selection of tools that are happening. It can we can feed it back to the starting saying add as block list and keep doing the same iteration. It is an agentic behavior, but it is not an agent. Why? Because the steps are defined and you have defined the steps. A true agent system would automatically figure out what data to query, how to analyze, what to extract. Does it make sense? If not, should we do the extraction again? Should we enrich the IOCs or miter map it? Or give you even to go a step ahead to understand, do we do these IOCs at all make sense in your environment? Adds as block lists, even propose some detections. So all of that is agent because it has taken over. That is a true agent because it has taken over all the other steps and tries to achieve the entire workflow on its own. It thinks about what's the next step rather than directly as hard coded or taking a hard coded step in the direction. Right? For example, I think I remember there's a agents versus workflows given by a doc given by Landgraf. I think they have explained it really well here in the image. An orchestrator workflow, an evaluator optimizer, or routing, all of these three feels like agentic, or they are agentic, but they're not true agents. An agent actually, if you think of it, there's only one block, a single brain that keeps on taking actions with all the hands it has. But in the orchestrator or workflows, there are defined number of steps that will happen. There's no defined number of steps in the agent side. It's fully autonomous. So this is how the difference of agent and agentic comes into the picture. Also, for a system to be agentic, it doesn't need to finish all of the four or have all of the four features. It could have just two and still be an agentic system. So that is how agent and agentic systems come into the picture. Now, how do we do that? How do we actually move towards application of this into our day-to-day job? This is where the actual crux comes into the picture. How do you get access? How do you integrate? How do you work with the AI to achieve your security tasks? So currently, what is available is all of these AI providers give you some form or fashion of in some form and fashion some tools to consume their LLMs. Right. So we'll just talk about the three major provider and an open source provider and an open source tool probably, so that these are the we'll only talk about them because we understand. Okay, we'll talk about the top three major providers and an open source solution. So think of it like tools that you have access to. Of course, you can consume all the LLMs via API, but you need a tool to actually consume it. Where will you actually consume it? You cannot write the infra from scratch. You can definitely do that. Like, I'm not questioning that, but there are already pre-written infra or platforms or tools that could consume those LLMs and give you the full driven capabilities. So the currently what you actually can consume is there are how you can consume is there are IDs that can get integrated with AI. Then there are CLI tools that you can use for AI, and then there are chat apps that you can use for AI. Now, most popular commercial vendors are, you can get VS Code with GitHub Copilot. You can get um, Windsurf. You can get Cursor. These are the most popular tools. There are more, Kilo, all of that. There's Klein extension, and number of tools available. But we'll talk about the most popular ones so that you have a good experience. If you are anywhere nearby, try to get one of these popular solutions, because um, they offer a better experience, and you're not debugging again and again of your stack. CLI tools. Now this is where I am hooked. Like most of my favorite work happens for me in CLI, because to be fairly honest, I write very less code. The engineering portion is really low. It's more analysis, hunting, investigation, that I do in day to day, and I enjoy day to day. It's not that I don't engineer and build flat things, but I enjoy analysis more. So this is where Codex by OpenAI, Gemini CLI, um, Claude Code, and Open Code, and then you also have like a number of other tools like Copilot CLI, slash Cursor CLI. Right? All of that comes into picture. Open Code is open source, worth mentioning. They've done a fabulous job of writing this tool, which actually competes with all major CLI tools that are available in the market, and somehow I feel is on par. And then there are chat apps. Chat apps are like simple chat GPT that you can use. You can also use, as mentioned, Cloud.ai. You can use Gemini. You can use DeepSeek. All of these chat apps are basically either apps or SaaS apps that you can access on their website. For us, this is where the magic is. Why? Because this runs low. All of this runs low, can run locally on your machine. That means the tool or the client at least runs locally on the machine, and the client has the ability to connect to other tools, apps, whatever you have, other resources on your machine, which is where the game changes. If you have SaaS apps, they do have some form of connectors and everything, but the true connection tool calling magic happens here, right? This is how your stack is. Now, what I would suggest is, if you don't have access, sorry, I missed another player. Google has anti-gravity. Worth mentioning. It's a good tool. Right now, what you would need to actually pivot to AI is, you need a AI subscription. Basically, a subscription to your LLM model. Right? What you require? You require subscription to LLMs. Basically, AI subscription. And I think that should be it. To be fairly honest, most of the time a subscription to an LLM or AI subscription would provide you one of these. For example, if you subscribe, and this is by the way the rates in India, so it might be different for you from where you belong. So for example, options that you have got, again, I'll take this list as an option. So if you are anywhere here, you can get a $10 plan for almost 300 requests, and plus you also get unlimited usage of base model. What does it mean? The base model might be GPT-5, if I remember correctly, 5 mini. So you can use it unlimited number of times. But there are premium models like we discussed on the top, 5.2, Sonnet, all of that. then you can only query 300 times. You can get windsurf $15. I think 500 requests. Requests are all differently priced. So say for example, a model like Grok would have 3x usage per request. That would mean that if you just use Grok, you get 1500 requests. Then there are models like Opus that would use 3 to 5x per request. That means even if you have 500, the only number of requests you can make is 100. One request equal to one prompt here. We are not talking about tokenization still. You have Cursor's $20 worth of usage in token is what they say. The pricing model is changed. This is a really amazing tool. You have anti-gravity. Anti-gravity is a bit different. You get usage per 5 hours, which gets and a weekly cap. Let's put it like that, and a weekly cap. So you generally get a higher usage in gravity, anti-gravity. But if you subscribe to this, if you see, all of these are not AI providers, like except anti-gravity is by Google has Gemini, but all of these are not AI providers. They are third-party solution so they are able to consume any model that they have configured. So you wouldn't be locked down by one provider. For example, with Windsurf, you're not, or VS GitHub Copilot or Cursor, you're not locked down. Or even with anti-gravity, thanks to Google for not just logging out on Gemini. With all four of those, you will not be logged out on to just the provider models. You would have even Kimi K2, which is a Chinese model, DeepSeek. You will have access to Sonnet. You will have Opus. You will have ChatGPT. You will have Gemini. Most of the frontier models available for you to choose and switch and play across. So if you want to evaluate which model is working for you, you can probably go away with these ones. I, however, is a fan of CLI. So on the CLI side of things, if you get, let's put it like this, if you get a ChatGPT $20 subscription, you get ChatGPT app plus deep research, bunch of features, deep research, agents, but you also get Codex. This is where the game is. So you get Codex, and again it works like 5 hours and a weekly cap. So you generally get a higher usage. And you also get a Codex app, Codex CLI, all of that. If you get similarly priced Anthropic dollar subscription, you get Claude.ai with deep research and all of bells and whistles, but you also get Claude Code. Again, 5 hours weekly cap, different usage for models. Say for example, Opus is costly, so if you use Opus, you'll probably burn up all the usage of 5 hours within an hour or within minutes. So you get that. If you get Gemini, you get Gemini app plus Gemini CLI. If you get VS GitHub Copilot, just to mention, you will also get Copilot CLI here. Again with 300, similar model, 300 requests. If you get, I think Copilot is covered. Cursor will come also with Cursor CLI. If you don't want to get logged out, right, what you could do is you can try OpenCode. Now OpenCode is an open source CLI solution. It can integrate with any provider and consume those providers LLM to give you a rich CLI harness, right? So what you need for the next session is you need to be ready with a subscription. I would suggest people in India, you have got a lot of good opportunities because most of the companies favor the market because they get good amount of rich data and feedbacks. So we currently have got, for people in India, you have got ChatGPT Go subscription, which is free. ChatGPT Go subscription, you get Codex with minimal usage, so should be good for starting out. You also get, if you are Airtel user, you get Perplexity. Pro. This will not help you in your coding or investigation or security tasks, but it's a good tool to have the chat window at least. Good for chat and search. I think if you are a Geo user, you simply get 1.5 years of Gemini AI Pro subscription by Google. Claim it via the Geo app, and as part of it, you get anti-gravity and you get Gemini. So I would say, if you have somebody using Geo in your family, go and ask him, take his phone, redeem it on your Gmail account. If you are a user of Airtel and Jio both, awesome, you have the stack. If you are having all three, there's nothing like it, right? So you get Codex and Gemini to work with. So be ready with this. We'll come back to the next video. By the way, I mentioned in the start of the video that I'll not be creating parts. So think of it like not being parts but being a series. This video covers on primer and what you need. The next one will actually start on the implementation. How is the configuration is done? How do you connect back your AI tools to your infrastructure? How do you manage your infrastructure with AI? How do you debug? How do you keep the stack up and running? How do you hunt? We'll slowly dive there, right? So it will be a series of where we pivot from thread hunting to AI driven thread hunting, right? I'll probably name the series as AI driven thread hunting, so that works. So be ready with this. I'll shortly upload the next video or the next video in the series where we'll start the configuration and setup, and quickly we'll move to ideally doing the first hunt, right? Meanwhile, please be versed with the fundamentals of threat hunting. As I've taken a note, I'll be sure to make a video of different threat hunting techniques that you can do and apply, or I'll probably cover that in the next video for next 15-10 minutes before we dive into AI, right? Or create a new video, whatever works. So let us pivot and be relevant in the market and start using more of AI, be in control, be the human in the control, right? So let's do that. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for viewing the video.